All right, if everyone wants to come in and grab a seat, we will get started. Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Welcome to our November press availability with our superintendent, Dr. Miriam Rogers. She has many updates to share with you this morning, so we're going to get right into it and welcome Superintendent Dr. Rogers up to the podium to share some remarks. And then, as always, after she has done providing her updates, we'll open it up for question and answer. Oh, and we see more folks coming. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. All right, Dr. Rogers, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday last week. So it is actually hard to believe that we're only a little more than 3 weeks away from the end of the 2023 calendar year. Our first marking period ended on November 3rd, and our students and staff have worked hard over the last few months to establish new routines and engage in rigorous teaching and learning that will ensure all of our students have the opportunity to excel in our schools. This morning, I'm prepared to provide updates on pre-kindergarten expansion, 2 new capital projects that will be completed in January, the fiscal year 2025 operating budget process, and a new mental health support line that will be piloted for many of our schools in select middle schools. I'm happy to answer questions, as Ms. Onijala shared, after these updates. I want to welcome some special guests that we have in attendance. Delegate McCaskill, who's here with us. Good morning. As well as our board chair, Lichter. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us and your continued support. The Blueprint for Maryland's Future overarching goal is to improve the quality and equity of Maryland's education system so that every student, regardless of where they live, family income, race, ethnicity, gender, language spoken at home, special needs, or any other characteristic, receives a world-class education, and the education prepares them for long-term educational and professional success. Earlier this year, all Maryland school systems were required to submit an implementation plan to the state that outlines how we're going to meet the Blueprint goals in a timely, efficient, and effective way moving into the future. The Blueprint sets early childhood opportunities as its first pillar, recognizing that a child's early years are the most critical for brain development and set the foundation for lifelong learning and achievement. Record investments in high-quality early childhood education will mean a more level playing field and more equitable outcomes and opportunities for all children. Under the Blueprint, all 3 and 4-year-old children from families earning incomes at or below 300% federal poverty level will have access to high-quality pre-K at no cost. Our work to plan and implement several strategies to increase participation of Tier 1 students began in 2021. I'm pleased to share that we are certainly fast-forwarding, and in January 2024, we are leveraging available Blueprint and system funds to expand even further. We are opening 2 full-day pre-K classes at Dogwood Elementary School. Dogwood currently has 2 half-day programs, so we're excited to expand access and provide a strong instructional program with rigorous learning opportunities for our youngest learners. In addition to the expanded program, we're also working closely with county government and private partners to finalize expansion of other full-day programs, and we will launch a large number of programs at the start of the 24-25 school year. I want to thank all of our staff who've been working behind the scenes to ensure that we're prepared for this expansion, and we're going to start the new calendar year with a newly expanded program at Dogwood. I look forward to providing members of Team BCPS with updates on our progress to eliminate access and opportunity gaps in early childhood education and ways that we're going to continue to meet the outlined Blueprint targets. In addition to the launch of the full-day pre-K program at Dogwood, we have 2 exciting elementary capital projects slated to open in January, mid-year, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Red House Run Elementary School with a state-rated capacity of 775 and a size of 107,774 square feet, and Summit Park Elementary School with a state-rated capacity of 735 and a size of 100,441 square feet are slated to open in January. These buildings will include state-of-the-art 21st century learning spaces for our students and staff, and both schools are designed to the LEED Silver level for environmental design. We're very grateful to the architects, builders, contractors, and others who continue to work tirelessly to make sure that we are open on time for our students. These projects would not be possible without funding from our state and county partners, so we're excited to engage those students. We will share details on plans for ribbon cutting ceremonies for both schools in the upcoming weeks. Over the past several months, we've engaged the Team BCPS community in a variety of ways around the FY25 operating budget process. We have held 5 forums across the county and heard directly from students, staff, parents, principals, elected officials, central office members, and other stakeholders providing their feedback, suggestions, and priorities for the FY25 operating budget. It was clear that there are many items that are of great importance to our community. However, there are some clear themes that rose to the top: safety and security, teacher recruitment, retention, and salaries, additional programs and opportunities for students, and infrastructure and operations. I want to thank the community for participating in these important conversations. Your direct input will help me to shape the operating budget request that I submit to the board in January, and I ask you to save the date and prepare to tune in to my live budget presentation, tentatively scheduled for Monday, January 8th, 2024. More details to follow. And for my final item this morning, I'm pleased to share information about a new mental health service support line that we're piloting for middle school students at select BCPS middle schools. The Cigna Student Support Line is a resource for students, families, and staff that provides support when individuals need help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Cigna will offer the services to students, staff, and families at Franklin, General John Stricker, Northwest Academy of Health Sciences, Perry Hall, Franklin, and Stemmer Run middle schools. We're utilizing the support line as an additional resource with the goal to support and improve mental health at home, school, and work. The support line is staffed by skilled Cigna advocates, and the staff are trained for crisis management. The staff will provide immediate assessments for crisis intervention, and non-crisis calls are triaged for counseling or local resources and support to help all of our students. Support will be available in English and Spanish at no cost to our students, staff, and families. We are truly grateful for this partnership with Cigna. Staff, students, and families at the identified schools will receive additional information on how to access this service very soon. And with that, I invite Ms. Onijala to open it up for questions.
We're happy to take your questions. Okay, please stand. You can stand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll hold it.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Lily from The Sun. Why start this pilot for the mental health line, and how did you select the schools that are going to start it?
So why start this pilot? As a school system, we are definitely dedicated to meeting all the needs of our students and our families and our staff, including the mental health needs. And so last month, we announced for high school, based on approval of a generous contract from the Board of Education, our ability to provide telehealth for our high school students. So the next step is middle school, and then we'll continue working to find out what's age appropriate for our elementary school students. But after prior to the pandemic, we knew that our students and staff members and families needed support, but especially after the pandemic, we know that there is a need for supports, and we know that if student and staff primary needs aren't taken, that they really can't avail themselves to high levels of teaching teaching and learning. And so we selected those schools based on our data where we have, the most needs. And so we always usually start with a pilot so we can find out how it works, how we are interacting with our community partners, getting feedback from the students, the staff, our families, our partners before we scale up, to the remainder of our schools.
Kristen Griffith with the Banner. About the pre-K expansion, yes. Are there plans to expand in any other schools this school year?
So we are January. So we started right in the beginning of the school year with I forget the number of schools that we expanded. We were trying to expand, in January to a few schools. Dogwood is a definite. We might have one or two schools that we're still working with. If that becomes finalized, we'll announce it to the community. But, in the fall is when you're going to hear a very large number of schools that we're expanding in. So we're trying. We're working on it. Pre-K is definitely a priority for us.
I won't break the rules this time. I'm Bree with WYPR, Bree Hatch, sorry. I was just wondering, this is like a slightly off-topic question, if that's okay. I was wondering if there's been any concern about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in schools and sort of what steps the county system is taking to support students and staff in that.
So certainly when when there's conflict in the world, as a school system, you immediately think about how are you going to make sure that your students are taken care of. Even though, our our largest group of people are students with over 110,000 of them, all of our schools and offices are filled with adults. And so we want to make sure that they're taken care of as well. And so as a school system in October, we sent resources to all of our schools, for, how do you have those conversations? How do you respond? What are the supports? We also have supports available for our adults. As a school system, we do not support any incidents of anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. Anything that we're made aware of, we investigate immediately. We also work with our law enforcement partners, but we also work with our community agencies and community partners that are educators in our community to make sure that we're taking care of everyone. So are we concerned? We're concerned that when things happen in the world that they can spill over into schools. We've tried to really be proactive in terms of what our stance is and what supports and resources we have available, and if and when anything comes up, we respond to it immediately. Mm-hmm.
For the pre-K programs, you mentioned the funding that goes into that. Do you know how much it was to open those two at Dogwood? And then also, do you have a ballpark number of how many full-day pre-K programs are going to open next year?
So I do, but it's too early for me to share. In terms of the amount, that's some information we can get to you. I don't have that off the top of my head, how much it costs to open each pre-K program. When you look at open pre-K programs, the IAC has, shared with us what is the square footage that's necessary for a class, but then when you have the structure, so you're not necessarily paying for that structure, you might have to make a few accommodations to that structure to meet the needs of those students, but then you have to pay for the staffing, you have to pay for a teacher, you have to pay for a pre-K paraeducator. We're adding additional adult assistants in our pre-K classrooms based on the needs that we see our younger learners are coming to schools with. And then, of course, you have classroom supplies and things like that. So all of those costs add up. We can certainly cost it out for you, but I don't have that on the top of my head.
This is your time. All right, yeah.
So you're talking about this mental health service line and the expanding process. It's at 6 middle schools, I think you listed now, but what are the plans to expand it to other middle schools? Like, is there a timeline for that?
So we usually do a pilot for a quarter or a semester based on that feedback. And then, of course, we look at available funding sources. We are very grateful that our partners are really helping us with the funding for this. And so, we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation to see whether or not there is an opportunity to expand to all of our schools. Of course, we want to make sure that it's a positive resource that meets the needs of everyone. So we usually take, anywhere from a quarter to a semester, when we move forward with a pilot.
Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you very much.